Okay, so I'm going to be doing my presentation over why cheer is a sport. So what makes a sport a sport? The official definition of a sport is an activity involving physical exertion and skill in which an individual or team competes against each other or others for entertainment. And cheer is a very demanding athletic activity that meets the criteria of a sport. So some physical exertion. Cheer consists of three main things: stunting, tumbling, and jumps. Stunting is basically what you see up there with the girls in the air. There's usually 4 people or 3 people on the bottom and then a top girl. And then there is tumbling, which you have up there. The girl is doing a double, so she's twisting 2 times and flipping her body. And then this girl is jumping, which requires a lot of flexibility, strength, and endurance. So skill and technique. It requires a lot of complex skills. Each routine is made up of different choreography and skills. So there's 6 different levels 1 through 6. It's kind of self-explanatory, but as you move up a level, you get better. So level 1, you pretty much start out with, and typically you start out when you're very young. So I started when I was 3, and I was not on level 1. I was on a prep team, and then you move up to level 1 all the way through level 6. They all have different complexity, starting with simple back walkovers to doubles. So precision, it's basically a 2-minute and 30-second routine, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's really tiring, and it consists of precise synchronization, clean movements, and perfect timing. And then training and practice, depending on what level you're on and what gym you go to, practices can last from 2 to 4 hours a day, adding up to typically around 20 hours a week. I cheered, I know for me, the closest gym that offered worlds teams and level 6 teams was about an hour and a half drive for me. So I drive there after school and then back. So it's a big time commitment. So there's 2 different types of cheer. There's competitive cheer, which is basically teams perform intense timed out routines in front of a group of judges. They're scored on difficulty, execution, and overall impression. So they go to a bunch of different competitions, and this type of cheer you have to pay for because it's an individual thing. And then school cheer typically is what you guys would see on the sidelines. It leads and supports crowds at games, supports schools, and performs simpler routines focused on enthusiasm and tradition. So that's pretty much what you'll see at high school. So rules and regulations, this is mainly for competitive cheer. They're set by organizations like the USAF to keep things fair and safe, rule committees that review safety data, gather input from coaches and experts, and then propose changes. So a lot goes into it. It's not just you go and whoever's better wins typically, because it's not really how the scores are aligned. And they regulate team compositions, coach qualifications, and judge criteria to ensure fair play and athlete safety. So the risk of injury in cheer, a recent study shows that 50% of catastrophic injury in women's sports occurs in cheerleading. A similar study done by Brenda Shields, research coordinator at the Center Research Institute at Nationwide Children's Hospital. Cheerleading injuries have more than doubled from 1990 to now. So things are getting a lot more not unsafe, but a lot more harder. Competitive cheerleading involves a great deal of tumbling and stunting activities where one athlete is supported by one or more athletes. And injuries commonly happen from a combination of poor technique and deficits in lower extremity strength, flexibility, and balance. So how to prevent injury? Stretch the muscles of the upper and lower extremity, including the back before and after activity. The core, you have a strong core. Repetitive tumbling activities must be done in intervals, so you don't want to work your body too hard. And then when landing things like jumps or tumbling, the hips and legs must be used as shock absorbers to keep the shoulders over the knees and don't let the knees collapse in towards each other. So some comparison, cheerleading takes just as much of a toll on mental and physical strength as most other sports. There are no second chances in cheerleading. There's only one shot. So when you take the floor, you have to hit the routine. It could be as best as it can. This is why cheerleading requires such rigorous practices, because it's not like a game. Like if you're down, like you can just bring the score back up. It's kind of like you get one chance. A perfect routine won't guarantee a win either. You can't go out on the floor and say, if we throw a good pass and make a touchdown, we can win. After you step off the mat, a win is in the judge's hands. So you can have a perfect routine. Cheer's very political, so a lot of the time you can go out there, hit a perfect routine, and the judges just didn't like your uniforms or didn't like the way you looked. So it doesn't guarantee much. And these are my sources. Thanks for listening. Sorry, I don't know how to get out.